4080. Industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady. Industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady.
One of my friends give me this phrase: if we're gonna hit the Titanic, if we're gonna hit the iceberg, let us at least drive the boat. If we're gonna crash, how about we drive the boat? Because I would hate to crash and you told me where to go.
Crashing on account of someone else.
Okay, yeah. That's how I tie those two things together, because that's the leap that you take when you decide to cover the other person.
Exactly.
Okay, you're not discarding family. You're just saying that we're the king and queen of our kingdom, and we're gonna do what we feel is best.
Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, everybody's gonna do what's best for them, right? Okay.
So, not being discarded emotionally and tapping in and emotionally covering each other in times of necessity that were important to each one of you to let you know, I got you.
Yes.
Good answers. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. I think that's I got like 4 more questions, but that's qualified enough. That's qualified enough. Luigi, we gonna go to the V. The V. I like saying that because it reminds me of the song. Okay, this is where we talk about real love in real time.
Sure.
Okay, we got the first one's all about the emotional foundation, how we got there. Okay. This is about real love in real time. So these are gonna be moments. Okay, I'll start here though. This is a good question. This is a good Rashida question. Oh my God, this is so good. Okay, how do you balance independence with interdependence?
Oh, okay.
We just writing these down. Good shit.
I'm gonna start.
Where you get this from?
With this. A gentleman that I thought I was going to date, a few years back. And we're still cool, right? It didn't work because God was like, that's not going to work. But one time he said to me that I was toxically independent, right? And I felt that was unwarranted, right? Because I remember I needed something like drilled into the wall or whatever. And I asked him, I was like, hey, can you come like drill this into the wall? Because I don't know how to put the bit in the drill kind of thing. It just wasn't working for me. And like my nails was getting in the way. And he was like, he has to go find like his drill and he couldn't find it and he never came. So I literally had to go on YouTube to like figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. Then I had to go to my super and my super went to go get the person that covers something to come help me do it. So I'm like, I think it's unfair, right, to call me toxically independent. And when I went, to ask for the help wasn't given. And that has been a consistent narrative where the men that I had come encounter with were not able to meet basic needs. And so therefore there is this complaint about women being all independent, but no one's coming in to do anything. Like they're not. I needed the nail in the wall, and I couldn't figure it out. All you had to do was.
That's all you needed.
That's it. And it was like all these excuses. But the same mouth is going to then call me toxically independent. Well, how dare you? I asked for the help. You didn't give me no help, right?
The same mouth. But keep
yes.
going.
So, but once I heard that, right, I sat with it for some time. And then I had to look at like my history. Why could this man call you toxically independent? What are the behaviors that you are exhibiting that, someone would say this to you? Full stop there. Then I get into the relationship that I am in, where I am told to sit down, where I am told to take a nap, where I am told, like, you don't have to do that, right? I got that. Where when he comes over, I don't take out garbage. I don't scrub a bathroom. All I have to do is cook. That's it. That is it. He will do everything. Look around. I am a heavy water drinker, heavy water, like a gallon a day. And I do not have to buy my own water, right? Now, everybody named Mama that my friends know, I weight train. And I love the fact that I weight train. And, I got a serious RDL. I can do it all. I don't want to carry them big waters. And I don't have to. That man goes and he gets all my jugs of waters that now sit on the floor. So I have learned, the women be like, I don't need a man, I need mine. I need mine because there are things that this woman's body does not want to do anymore, right? So there is that loose interdependence, right?
So there is a fine, not a fine line, but a fine understanding of what you just said from a standpoint of saying, I need my man. And also you've mentioned a few times with a level of urgency and respect to it that there's a small level of submissiveness that you receive within being in a relationship as well too. But
That's an interesting word too.
okay.
On purpose.
Okay. Yeah, because it's almost like you have to hear that because interdependence doesn't necessarily mean the guy has to have a hammer. It doesn't necessarily mean he has to carry the water. It means that there has to be an understanding of what the other person requires and needs and being in tune to help deal with it more so than sit back. So, because I'm not putting a hammer in your wall, okay? I'm not doing that. But I am on the phone in 10 minutes and saying, Alan will be here tomorrow morning and he'll put your shit up for you.
Solid, because you provided the solution.
Okay, so
That's it.
So that's what I mean about respectfully understanding the interdependence of it. Because what I don't want to get confused, because this is her dynamic, not everybody's dynamic, is that it's not necessarily that the stereotypical gender roles is what has to be interdependence. That doesn't mean that she has to cook. Doesn't mean he has to carry the water. Okay, it does mean you have to be in tune and intuitive to what the other person needs and be able to activate to solve that concern and not be an additional question, be more of the answer.
I may shock my population, right?
Make sure you look in the camera when you shock them.
By saying this. I like traditional gender roles. I like the old school way of doing things. I like the way that we have defined, historically what men should do and what women should do, because what that does for me, but you got to have someone that is respectful in this space. But what that does for me is give me peace. I don't have to think about anything outside of what I have learned for a woman's traditional gender role to do, but to do that. And I don't have to think beyond that, right? And when I even start doing too much, I am told, you don't need to do that. And so we have this thing that is going around on social media talking about the soft life or whatever, but there's a lot of dynamics that come into place if you really want this soft life. And I'm going to say this, I am not an advocate for feminism. I just not, especially for black women. Especially for black women. It wasn't a black woman's, movement. So I like the traditional
we may have to
gender.
Edit that part out.
Don't.
For me and my household, just like the book of Joshua says, for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. For me and my house, we like traditional gender roles.
There's something that this is not defending her statement. It's not defending her statement. It's just giving context to how that makes sense, okay? Because I have the same conversation with the people who I engage with, and I say very clearly, this is why we have to have gender roles. Because the strong woman, the single parent, the single mother that have to grow with masculine tendencies, that's what crosses that line, and that's a whole nother conversation of how we get there. But I say this very clearly to make the other person understand why they have to have gender roles. Because if it's 2 degrees outside, and it's snowing like crazy, and we get a flat tire, you're going to look to your left.
Amen.
You're going to look to your left.
Yes, right.
Okay? So this is what, you like that one, Luigi? Okay? You're not going to do anything but look to your left. Okay? That's why, and that's why when you look to the left and they solve the issue, it's okay to say, what are we eating? And look to the right. Mm-hmm. As long as we understand that. That's how simple I'll make it. I'm not trying to make it convoluted, but I'm saying that in the core sense, what it represents, we need the gender roles to be the gender roles because men are not nurturing by nature. There are more nurturing men now, and that's another conversation about why they're that way, okay? But in general, men are the protectors, okay, and women are the nurturers. I'm not getting into the provide word because it's a whole financial conversation. Men are the protectors, women are the nurturers. So within that gender role basis, if that's understood, you'll kind of be in a good place in space and not really feel any way about what's going on because you're going to look to the left.
It allows you to not have to think so much. And I don't remember what was happening like in my house or whatever, but I know Elliot had did something. I had no intentions, right, of cooking this particular day because I work a full-time job and think in the pharmaceutical industry. That has a bit of like stressors to it, right? But we was doing something. The man fixed something, and we was in the car, and I was like, I don't even remember what I cooked. I can't. I was like, you want a beef stew or something? He was like, oh, you cooking? Because I just felt compelled, right? Because he fixed a particular issue. So I feel in order to keep that balanced out, I went home, pulled out the slow cooker, got the meat, cleaned it, seasoned it, chopped up all the vegetables, put it in there. He went to sleep, and by the time he woke up 6-7 hours later, everything was done.
Don't forget the 6-7 hours.
Because the slow cooker, ladies, the slow cooker is helpful. Yeah, you put it there and go about your business.
So again, that ties into the dynamic of understanding the wherewithal of what's happening. So if you notice, the questions are lining up in a way almost like a blueprint, as Christopher Wallace would say, a step-by-step booklet for you to get what you may need to do. Okay, to understand what's going on. You see how I'm walking this? You see how these lay on each other?
Oh, Tally.
Okay.
Tally.
Okay, what was the question I asked you? Because I can't find it anymore.
I don't know. I'm perimenopausal. I don't know. I can't remember.
Oh, Lord.
I rebuke it.
Oh, Lord. How do you balance independence with interdependence?
He is the head of my household. I do believe in traditional roles. I make Sunday dinner every Sunday. He loves that. We help each other. We are both helpmates. He is not one to drill anything. He's not doing anything with his hands. He will pay in a heartbeat for things to get done. I do wash. I hang up the clothes. We switch off. Sometimes he'll cook. He's a great breakfast cooker. But if I want dinner and he doesn't feel like cooking, you'll eat. You gonna eat. You and your son gonna eat. I don't have to cook. I think a lot of times women want the men. I want to see you wash the clothes. I want to see you cook. I want to see you do what I do. And that was me. And then we sat down, we spoke, and he said, I don't have to do what you do in order to show you that you're going to eat. The house is clean. I like things get done. So I don't have to do it the way you do. And once I understood that, everything was fine. So now when I get money and I want to send the clothes to the people that wash and fold and do all of that, I do that too. My independence, I would say I still go out. I still go out with my friends. I still do what I got to do, but you check in because I want you to check in and say, hey, I made it there safe. Hey, I'm stepping out with Rashida. Okay, get home safe. So it's just always knowing that's your partner. Lock in. You know what I'm saying? Because now when I was younger, it felt like, I don't want to check in. What are you talking about? I have to do this with my mother. No. So it was a push and pull. But when you realize as we grew up, you realize that's my homie. That's who I live with. That's who I married. So you have to check in. You got to check in. So independence and interdependence, it flows. It flows.
So the common denominator is recognition of when to be interdependent that y'all both have identified.
Yes, and I also
that's
think
what makes it smooth. So you're not sitting back there saying, "Why haven't you? Why haven't you? Why haven't you?"
That's correct.
And they have an early radar to recognize.
Yeah, like I don't touch a door. I will not touch a door,
Right.
and I'm not grabbing the bags from the groceries. I will walk right out, and I don't have to. And I was applauded for that. He was like, "I like how you don't even think about it," and I just let him do it.
Well, when you get to your comfort zones, that should be the case. You get to your comfort zone. You shouldn't be touching base about comfort zones. Once you hit the comfort zone, you should be comfortable in the zone.
I only got the strength to do RDLs.
Oh, Lord have mercy, Cash. I'll start with ISIS on this one. This is a good question because I actually know the answer. I just want to get your method to your madness within this. Okay. In today's day and age, how do you handle social media within your relationship?
I don't. I don't.
And talk about your spouse as well.
He does not. He only, in social media, he only puts for real estate. He's a licensed loan mortgage officer. And he does not post nothing of our marriage, of nothing. And I like it that way. I like it that way. I post here and there. I post maybe my son when there's things going on. But as far as what's going on, that is not social media's business.
Okay. I'm going to stop you there because she'll give more of a Rashida answer because I know her answer is similar because she'll give the why.
Because I don't want people in my business.
Well, I know you. You're the what.
Oh, okay.
What do you do? I don't.
What? I don't.
See the answer? What do you what?
Okay. All right, fine.
She's going to care to say the why. That's why.
Oh,
this
okay.
is why I'm shifting over.
So the last post I made on social media was, I think Farrah was born in 2020.
That is correct.
That was the last post that I did on Instagram. Now, am I still on it? Yes. But before I even get to what's and whys, I just recently came off of a social media fast, right, for 40 days during a period of Lent. And I realized during that time, that was the longest I have ever been off of social media since its creation, when it launched. And I realized in that moment that is a sickness, right? People are being infiltrated with so much stimuli, and then we wonder why everyone is chaotic in their heads. And
Google stimuli.
Jeez. And like, we have all these like anxiety issues. Now, mind you, I was diagnosed with a general anxiety disorder. When I was postpartum, that's the diagnosis that they gave me, in addition to postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression. And I should have fasted from social media then. But in this most recent time, I realized that we are taking in too much. And sometimes what they're putting on social media might not be the real narrative, but then everyone starts running with it and adopting to this particular idea and ruining essentially their lives off of that. That's not quantifiable research. Those aren't good sources. It's not scholarly articles. It is none of the things that anyone should be using to validate or to judge anything that's happening in their life. And I think it's tragic, actually, that is happening. And that's why there is the discord in the relationship sphere, particularly within, our folks, because of social media. Fair. And people that are unqualified speaking and folks listening to them as if these people got 3 letters behind their name and they went and they did the dissertation,
What's your partner's involvement in social media?
He has, an IG page, and I made him I can't make him do anything, but I almost begged for him to get a TikTok just so that, because funny things happen on TikTok. It's a different kind of zhuzh over there on TikTok.
I love the TikTok.
Than it is on Instagram. So I heard you say that you don't like TikTok.
For reasons that have nothing to do with entertainment.
But I wanted to send him like stuff that was on TikTok. But TikTok,
engage.
Yeah, but TikTok actually TikTok actually taught me how to make a lot of things from scratch. Hey. Right? It did. Like, I don't buy my bread anymore from the store at all. I'm making it from scratch. I make my butter, right? Because I watch the videos on TikTok and I do it. And so my sister-in-law our TikTok looks like we weigh 300 pounds because we are just back and forth sending each other all these like natural recipes. So that's what we use it for. He gets annoyed that I send stuff to his inbox because, he's annoyed with it.
That would drive me batty too. FYI.com or FYI.io, because it's 2025. There's good, bad, and ugly in everything. Okay? I've told you that plenty of times. Okay? Being able to make bread and make butter, okay, that's good. Dance challenges, tortured cats, that's bad. Okay?
I don't watch none of that.
The interaction of a narrative that's being hijacked and repurposed and then restated, that's ugly. Okay? There'll be a whole podcast about why y'all all need to cancel your TikTok subscriptions, but that's another day. Okay?
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
I like TikTok.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, here's my final statement to make you go, oh, I get it. And the Chinese know that too. That's the problem.
Yeah, that needs to be a different topic because
That's the problem.
we really gonna go left.
That is the problem. Damn, man, good answer. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me wrap that in a bow. So part of the success, what they're not saying, but I'm saying out loud, is that part of the underlying charm and success of their relationships is the fact that social media isn't a priority in their relationships in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Everybody who's watching this is directly the opposite. Sorry. So look inward as you understand what may or may not be happening. Because because I have this problem, just so I can do full disclosure, okay? Because having to want a follower, having to want a subscriber, means you're playing into the environment that social media presents.
But in defense of those that are going to hit like, share, and subscribe, right? Allow me to say this: you have to curate your content that you're following. So if you're going to be on,
You may have to Google curate as well, within reference to how the statement is being said.
No, we don't.
if you're going to be on the social media platforms, make sure that you're watching and liking things that meet your needs, so that the algorithm can then show you the stuff that you're interested in. So on my feeds, you're going to see all this like cottage core stuff where the women are in these big farm kitchens making things from scratch, because I have curated my feed so that the algorithm just feeds me that all day long.
Fair statement.
You know, so if this is their interest and they hit like and share, then this kind of content is what will be pushed to their phone. So they have to become smarter with what they consume. If they are going out to eat and they're like, yo, I'm not going to eat, a triple cheeseburger with you're smart about what you eat. So be smart about what you put in your eyes and your ears the same way you do with your mouth. Ija?
I just want to say my algorithm is nothing but funnies. My job in investigations is a little too heavy. So with that, can I curse?
Today.
Okay. I'm down for the book and the funnies. That's what I'm down for.
It's awesome when you have one of those laughs where you cry because something pops up on your feed and you're just like watching it. You're like in tears.
I love it.
They have officially arrived at the point where they don't realize it's a podcast anymore.
I'm so sorry.
They're just absolutely comfortable, and we're now having the same similar conversations if we were on the phone, which is perfectly fine.
I'm still laughing. I don't know why.
Last question, the verify section.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let's get through it. Damn it, I lost it. No. What is your stance? No, we already asked the gender role question. You actually answered it without getting to it, so you're already there. Okay. What is the playbook for fun and joy in your relationship?
What is the playbook?
I think asking for a playbook is doing too much, right? I think that goes back into us in this society overthinking, overanalyzing. That is why we are being diagnosed with anxiety and stuff. We just overdoing everything. So there shouldn't be a playbook. What are your interests? What are your interests? Okay, I may not particularly like that, but because this is my partner, yes, I'm going to come with you and we're going to do that. He has no interest in axe throwing, but he's going to take me axe throwing because, there's a little bit of cycle that lives in my head. And so I want to throw axes and he's going to let me do it, right? So there isn't a playbook. It's like that interests her, all right? He has zero interest in Saw. I love Saw. Jigsaw? Oh, that is my homie, right? He can't stand it, right? But when but you bought me the doll and all the CDs. What was it? CDs? What's the things that you put in the thing? Okay, there you go. Right? So I love it. He hates it, right? But when Jigsaw this 10 came out, he was like, "Did you see it?" Making sure that I watched it because that's my interest. Like, I love that guy. Do you want to play a game?
Your turn.
Let's run. It's over. Repeat the question. Yeah, short attention span. Go ahead.
The Playbook for fun.
Thank you. Because I'm trying to stay ahead of it, so we kind of. So I'm trying to be time efficient here. Yeah.
Time efficient. I live a very ordinary life. We have a dog, an Akita.
Big ass dog.
Yes, I have an American Akita. We walk the dog. We share Sundays together.
Wait, like ice cream sundaes?
No. Time and space. He's a hard worker. He works long hours, so Sundays is our catch-up time.
Together.
We have our favorite shows that we watch. We go shoot pool. We do stuff. Very ordinary life.
The playbook is simple. We care about the other person's interests and we engage.
That's
the
it.
playbook.
But that's what you do with your friends too. You know how many things Isis has done that she has zero interest in, but because like I am into it, she will come along and do it. Like New Orleans is my thing, and I have dragged her with me to New Orleans. She could care less about New Orleans.
3 times.
Yeah.
3 times.
She don't care about that place, but I love it. Right? So we
Is
do
he a
that with
Saints
friends.
fan?
No.
He's got a problem.
Is she a what?
No. He's a basketball guy.
He's a basketball guy.
Yeah, but remember, so it's not a problem because in my family, there's my nephew who's a Giants fan, my brother who's a Cowboys fan, and so it's just the natural discord, right? So
Anthony's a basketball. He's a sports guy, but he's basketball.
yeah, Elliot's
Knicks.
basketball.
The name Anthony has appeared, so we now know who Isis connection is with.
I guess I'm comfortable.
Like I said, there's officially there's no longer a podcast. Look at her post. Compared to when we first got started. It says everything. All right, so that was good. That was good because we got into the nuts and bolts. We did the emotional aspect. We got the nuts and bolts. All right, so that's certified. That's qualified. That's verified. Now we get into certified.
You good. You got me to say his name. I kept that tight.
No.
I was thinking about it in my head too.
All right, here's the round table blueprint, which is the C. The C. Okay. What would you say to the 21-year-old version of yourself?
Ooh.
In reference to relationships, what would you give them? What gems and jewels?
Okay.
Okay.
So
That's a good question.
I'm actually going to say, forget about myself. Let me tell you what I'm going to tell Farrah, right?
This. Know what his name too. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I originally was under the guise that, you get out of high school, you go to college, right? Let's figure out what your career is going to be. Let's kind of get you started on that. And then we don't worry, but you kind of like date here and there so you can understand like what's happening out here. And then I didn't want her, this is my old thinking, I didn't want her thinking about any type of marriage or anything like that until she was over 33, right? That was my head. Now, I think the problem that we have in our community is the lack of the family unit. So I'm not rushing her, right, to be married at 23 or 24, but what I'm going to implement in her consciousness is the importance of a family foundation. And I am no longer going to, for myself, but I'm past that age, but for her, I don't want her to have the belief that she needs to somehow sow some wild oats. There's nothing to sow out there, right? And so it is my hope and it is my prayer that whomever God has for her as a husband, that this mother, and I'm fully believing God for this, is raising her son in the same way. So that, yes, we've got to get her through high school. And yes, we've got to get her in college. But if in her junior and senior year of college and she is dating someone, I'm going to see who he is, right? And if it's serious, and I'm going to talk to that mama and I'm going to talk to that father to see what's happening here, because I am not going to comfortably allow her to date just to date. There needs to be a purpose in this. And as I've gotten older and I'm able to work with people from other cultures, I see that that's what they do. They don't date just willy-nilly. They are dating with the purpose of marriage, and they don't allow their children just to be running the gamut like that. And I ain't letting her do it. There's no point to it.
So the cultural the cult, because you're speaking to a certain nationality as you're saying this. I'm hearing this through these words. So the cultural importance of recognizing the importance of family and having the intent of what you're dealing with being your foundation of such, so that when you're not running around saying, I'm trying to figure it out. No, we're not doing that. What would you tell your 21-year-old self?
Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Buckle up. And I don't regret the journey. I'm happy where I am today. And I think that 21-year-old needed to go through all the shit that she needed to go through to get to a firm grounding.
Fair enough. Which is everybody at this point in time. You might not know it. You might not care to realize it. You may not like it, but it is what you needed to do. Okay. So that's a fair statement. That's a good one. Where'd I go? What is your partner's best non-physical trait that keeps you coming back? We'll start here.
Non-physical trait that keeps.
Luigi said, I'm so asking that one when I get in the house. I'm so asking that one. I'm looking her right in the face and saying,
Emphasis on the non-physical.
Emphasis on the non-physical. I think the ability he has to process convoluted or like troubling things, like the way he receives information, it's like a Rubik's cube, and I like how he processes information. I like that when he speaks to me, it's not from a higher moral ground. He's speaking to me, not at me. Doesn't make me feel stupid or try, I got one up on you, academia, or I do that to him. No. I think it's really, for me, loving and loving, and it is attractive to have someone that holds you in a nice, coveted space.
What's beautiful about this moment, I have no idea, I've never met him, but he is so gonna smile right now when he watches this.
I love my friend.
Your turn.
My husband.
And don't get an out smile. Just say what it is.
Patience.
And that's
Dealing with me, the patience of Job is required, and he has it. He has never lost his patience with me, and it's quite easy. It is quite. I know myself,
so
right?
easy.
So yeah, and he has patience, and I look at him in his face when I know I'm trying, and you can see the buttons being pushed, and he'll just go. So, babe, and then start saying whatever, and then I'm disarmed.
Okay.
That's what happens.
All right, that's good. All right, so here's the next one. This is a good one, too. Oh, you don't like this one, Luigi. Chris, you don't like this one, too. How do you and your partner plan legacy? Emotional, financial, and for you, you're going to add in spiritual.
My son is 20. Legacy has always been important to me. I had my son when I was 24. And when I had my son at 24, I did not want the legacy that I had, but I took from my past the good part, and I poured everything into my son so that when I leave and my husband leaves, we have injected in him, yes, he loves the Lord. That is his foundation. My husband is working so hard to leave a legacy of real estate knowledge. I hope that when my son looks back, my legacy would be that I left him with love. And I cared for his mind, body, and soul. I hope that when he looks back, he saw how I loved his father. He saw that his parents went to work every day. how we sacrificed so he can go to college, so he can be somebody bigger and better than his mama and his pops. I hope I answered your question, but my son is my legacy. That's my son. Son.
That was a great answer.
I'm very passionate about those things.
What?
We're getting close. We're getting close. Look at the clock.
So, in terms of foundational legacy, right? We make sure that we have all the policies in place, because what happened in my mother's situation is, while she was still here but partially incapacitated, her husband actually changed names of the beneficiaries on certain policies. So I have this experience, this front row experience to the obstruction of leaving a legacy. So I ensured that I did all the things that I needed to do so that nothing gets taken, from Farrah, and she gets to have what is rightfully hers, right? And then one of the things, even though we have only been dating 2 years, this man has already said to me that 2 years too long, and has begun to prep me, right, for a proposal and stuff. He was not waiting, and he knew that I kind of needed to be prepped. He was like, I know your mind got to get right, and I appreciate that as well. So there goes that legacy that's there as well. And then the spiritual legacy, because I always think that's the most important. What is important for me is that Farrah understands that her foundation is going to be on biblical principles. And she really enjoys the church dynamic. She understands how to have conversations with God. She asks lots of questions about God. And then my niece just told me the other day that Farrah told my sister, she was listening to some music, and she was like, is that gospel music? And my sister said no. And Farrah told her, well, you need to listen to gospel music. So that's the most important legacy for me, because in full transparency, I was raised, right, Southern Baptist. But as I got older, I veered all the way off from it. And I have gone in other directions in terms of my spirituality. But that was seeking a home. That was seeking a place that I felt like I was accepted. And because the church didn't teach me as a child that I was a part of a home, and it felt very critical, I left and went other ways. So what I want her to do as I raise her now within the church and within the Christian faith is to understand that she belongs. That is her home, right? And that other people's opinions or judgments should not sway the relationship that she has, teaching her how to hear the voice of God, teaching her the intuitions of the Holy Spirit, really getting her grounded with that so no one can move her out of those spaces, and that she is confident. That is the legacy. Because when I think about certain songs I will play on the radio, and it just has this visceral effect on me because it reminds me so much of my mother, and I want the same thing for her when she hears certain gospel songs, because it's what we're listening to every day on our way to school. That is what's important, because if she has that, she will be okay the rest of the way.
I like how y'all both have spirituality right smack dab in the middle of it. That's the foundation on her side. Your side is similar, but it's the family dynamic because of where you've come from, knowing where you want things to be moving forward. So that's a good answer. That's a good answer. We're getting close. We're getting close. We're getting close. Just letting you know, okay? Here we go. What's one myth about love we need to bury for good?
People say love hurts. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, right? I just said this on the way here in the car with Isis, that life actually is simpler than people will allow it to be, right? It is the humans overcomplicating things. Yes, there are going to be situations and circumstances. We all experience losses. Both of us have lost our mothers, right? Yes, that hurts, right? And you've got to navigate and work through that. But there are all these nuances in life that people get really hung up over and driving themselves crazy about. And they're like, oh, but this person loves me. Love is not supposed to hurt, right? When we say that Christ loves you, does that mean that he's going to hurt you? No, something's off. And I don't know where this stuff is coming from, but I think something is off. And I'm like, just go back to biblical principles. And I promise you, I hate sounding like a holy roller. I swear I do. I do.
She's rolling.
But but my holy is rolling. And I can't even help it because it's
Let 'em roll,
literally,
baby. Let 'em roll.
All right. It's what I'm rooted on.
Okay.
It's what I'm rooted on because I have gone through literal mental psychosis. Literal mental psychosis. And I said to myself, I wish I had brought myself back into the body of Christ sooner than I did because that psychosis that I have, I feel like would not have happened. However, I don't regret it because I am better equipped in this space that I'm in right now, to minister to someone if I have to, right? From that perspective, because you have to have been in it really in order to minister to somebody about it. Because they're like, you don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, yes, I do. I know what crazy is. Tis me.
So love's not supposed to hurt. That's the myth.
No,
that's
that
the
love
real-
hurts.
that
Yeah,
love
people think
hurts.
like love hurts. Like, get out of here. People do stuff, when people in relationships and someone is constantly doing something to them and like, but he loves me. No, girl, where you get this from? Like, how did your brain draw the correlation that this degree of abuse also ties into love? Something wrong. The synapses ain't firing
Agreed.
off.
Synapses.
The synapses are not firing
Third
off.
word you may have to Google, synapses.
I think I'm going to approach this from a financial standpoint. And I know everybody be like, he got to be rich. She got to have money. I think both of you should have a good job, should have good insurance, should have money, right? Not a whole lot of money, right? Because you can love you, and then he could be the 80, I could be the 20. But then I could be the 80 and he could be the 20. If you want a relationship, a long-standing relationship, me today, you tomorrow. You're up. We're all up, right? And everything is good. We're going out. We're going to these nice restaurants. Life happens. What if you get ill and lose your job? Am I supposed to leave you because you lost your job and now you can't take me out? You can't buy me flowers? Am I supposed to do that? No. On his side, is he supposed to leave me? Because maybe I got fired. Maybe I got laid off. I think we need to I think we should take the monetary of who pays for what and what pays for what. But listen, at the end of the day, everybody's going to have their own way of how they perceive they want their life to go. You want a man that has a lot of money? Do you? In the long run, though, me today, you tomorrow. Remember that.
I know when people have the phrase and they would say you need to be 50-50 in certain relationships, that's a theory. That's a theory. I always would add to that, so you need to be 80-80 because 50-50 just takes you to 100. If you're 80-80, you're past 100. So then when you come down, we're still at 100. We're good. So you kind of
That's that
overcompensate for
cushion.
that. That's that cushion to cover. So you
That
should
cushion.
be 80-80. So that's what I feel about today and tomorrow. That's what makes me think about that because that's how that comes into play. You have to have that mentality to say we're here. Because if you're 50-50, right, and you lose the job, now you're less than 50.
But
So
let
that starts to mess with the dynamic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And to add to that, I think that there's this, but I only hear this from men, though, on social media, this fanciful idea about what their grandmothers tolerated, right? Or their great-grandmothers in their relationship. Like my grandmama stayed with my granddaddy and they were married, for 50 years or whatever, and not taking into account the culture that existed then. The fact that it wasn't until recently, and I believe in 1972, where women were allowed to get a bank account, right?
Hello.
And so we have to remember all those variables and not lift up those ideas about those relationships. And where the song Papa Was a Rolling Stone come from, like these are the kind of things that went on, and they create this very fanciful kind of pie in the sky about those relationships, but they were struggling. Maybe not, grandma didn't have to go to work and Papa went out there and she was always cooking, but they don't really know what was going on in that dynamic. And I don't like that they like to prop those relationships up and compare them to the women currently, like you're not meeting grandma's standard and
I
you're
don't
not
wanna meet it.
sacrificing, because those women sacrificed.
And you would, and those, and you take it further back. Less conversations were had as well too. So you don't
You don't talk about what's going on in this house.
So you don't know. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right, make you laugh. I don't know if she's beating his ass. He's beating her ass.
Yes.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know. All right, so we're gonna make this cute at the end, and then we'll have a different spin on the conversation. If you can name a theme song for your relationship, what would it be?
Love Jones.
Which song is that? That's a movie.
I made it. Love Jones. That's what my last name is Jones. Love Jones.
Sing it. I'm playing. Luigi, like that one. Love Jones. I'm thinking about the movie, and I'm thinking about the. They said, that's a cute song. Like a penny at a hole in it. That's a good whatever, right? As long as it begins love and ends Jones.
That's right.
Good.
I have two, because I have one is a secular song and one is
I knew it.
a gospel song, right? So,
Can y'all name songs that people know, please?
but the gospel one, I don't think that people would know, right? So there's a song that I always loved. First of all, I'm a fanatic Beyonce fan, right? Just is what it is. And so she has this song called No Angel. So it would be that one, right? Because what she's saying is that song is like, you're no angel either. You know, she recognizes whatever the faults that she has, but she's like, yeah, and you're no angel. And that's why he is attracted, you know, to her. And then the gospel song, years ago, like we were young, TD Jakes had this like gospel album. It's called Sacred Songs. And there's a song on there called Usher Me. And so what she is saying is, usher me into the presence of the Lord. And that is very reminiscent of what Elliot has done. Because I was still I was still wayward, right, when he stepped on the scene. But with a gentle hand, he got me back in line to where my mother started me off and I veered off. And he said, let me put you back where your mama had you and where she'd prefer you to be. And did it softly. Softly.
These guys are going to lose their damn mind when they watch this. Bring them like, can you do another podcast?
Yes.
And talk about this some more, please. Please. Last question.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to start with you because I want to hear your answer to this one first. Define commitment without using the word marriage.
Trust, loyalty, dependence. I depend on him. He depends on me. Camaraderie, friendship.
Love Jones.
Love Jones.
Ms. Rashida.
Yes. Commitment is agreement, right? We agree to do this life together. We agree to be in one accord. We agree to withstand the storm, and we agree on the tools that we use to battle the storms. That is commitment. It's agreement.
That's Miss Rashida. That's Miss Isis. Anthony Smile. Elliot Smile. You don't know me yet, but hi, Miss Farrah. You know why I'm laughing when I'm saying that, right? Okay. Do you care to give any additional information? Anything you're working on, anything you're dealing with, anything you want to share with the world? Do you want to tell them where they can find this Love Jones song that doesn't exist?
In my heart, it does. Leave me alone.
Yeah, there's no finding me. I don't want to be bothered.
No, it's okay.
If you DM me, I'll give you their social media, and then you can stalk the crap out of them. But you must follow, share, subscribe by following the socials at Gotham Jungle, IG, X, Threads, YouTube, Facebook. Thank you, Luigi. Okay. I want to thank Miss Rashida. About to call you Isis. I want to thank Miss Isis. These are my peoples. These are my emotionally intelligent people too. These are the ones that like, if I have to like, the next time there's like a pandemic, we're gonna all huddle up. We'll all be in the same place together. Okay. They know what I'll do. They know what they got to do. They'll bring their families, and we will have no issues. We'll have no
True story,
issues.
yeah.
Okay.
We understand space.
Right, and we understand each other. They be like, cause y'all know what I had to bring to the table. Like, okay, I know you ain't gonna come up these stairs.
Rashida's making the bread.
She's making the.
I'm bringing the whiskey.
Yeah, we can see what I'm saying, and we'll take it from there. Goju Nation, you're so appreciated. I want to thank y'all so much because Post Point Media is where we record this, and Nuri doesn't know this, so when I say this out loud, she'll get this. The subscribers have 4 times the number when I first started here to where they are now. Okay?
Great job.
Thanks to being in this place and space. Okay? I can't do this without Nuri. I can't do this without Luigi. Chris, thank you, Goju Nation. We'll talk to you soon. 2 things. Miss Rashida, we measure twice.
Cut once.
And light and darkness cannot coexist at the same time. So if you choose to be one, choose to be the light. Thank you.
That was dope.
Industry rule number 4080. Industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady.